Absolute Wonder Woman had the highest selling comic, I think, for November or something like that. I want to talk about DC in general because right now they are destroying numbers wise in comics. Jared, why is it that DC is cooking right now, comic wise?
So they got a lot of attention from Absolute Batman. It's funny because a lot of the things that everyone's been super excited for Absolute Batman for a while, but I think that the stars really aligned in terms of Absolute Batman hype. And when people were criticizing how big Bruce Wayne was in terms of bulk or how much they hated the Batman logo, you know what it did? It made everyone talk about the comic that much more, and it put it to the number one highest selling comic of the year at 400,000 copies. And I'm pretty sure that number is before all the reprints. So a lot of times what they'll do when a comic sells out, they'll do a reprint and reissue the comic.
Yeah.
And I think they're on their like fourth one already for this comic book. It's insane. So what you have to understand is people are probably like, well, why does this Batman look so different? Why does he have such a different logo? And then people found out what Absolute Batman really was about. It's an alternate universe Batman, and he doesn't have the money. Alfred isn't his butler. He's a city engineer, and he put his own equipment together. And people were like, that sounds really cool. And then they read it, and then they found out about Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman also being alternate versions of the characters. And I think that they marketed this thing really well. And I don't know if the logo design and things like that were intentional to get people talking. I wouldn't put it past them. They are creatives. They know what they're doing. But I do think that the criticism that the logo took actually helped them. And, what's interesting to me about it is that the Marvel's Ultimate Universe, we're a year into, and it got hyped, don't get me wrong, and people talk about it a lot, but not like Absolute. And Ultimate is just as cool. Like, it's awesome. But DC really played their cards right, and Absolute is just on fire.
Yeah. I think that YouTube also played a really big part because a lot, like, I watch a lot of comics explaining because he just puts comics into like a 30-minute thing. It just helps me get a lot of more context. Like, which sometimes when I read these stories, I'm a little like confused, so I'll kind of go back. So like with some Fantastic Four stuff, right? He literally just did a whole, and which is funny because he literally dropped a whole. Let me see. I'm looking at YouTube. He dropped the video literally 8 days ago. Hickman's Fantastic Four reading guide. And Comics Explained is just like you. He's a Hickman junkie, but so I always go back and watch like some stuff that I'm a little confused about. But I've been watching a lot of his videos. Haven't been doing like crazy on views. Like he always gets like over like 100K. But like when he did Absolute Batman, it did 1 million in 3 days. But like I think that people like Comics Explained and like Variant Comics, like a lot of people go to them too because they're like, all right, like if it's trash, like they'll tell me, and if it's trash, they'll just break it down in a half hour. But when you have people like them where they're saying like, yo, go buy this, and then it goes to Instagram and X and every leaker, every scooper is talking about it. It's like you gotta hop on a wave and buy it at that point because all these people are talking about, and it spread like a virus.
That's a good point. It's like it became a thing. Like if you didn't read it, it's almost like not seeing Brave New World. Like it's part of the larger conversation of the fandom at this point, and you have to read it to understand. And I hope that it pulled in people who don't read comics. Like maybe this is something that is going to get you into comics because it really is awesome. And comics, like it's just another medium to tell stories, but they are able to do things like Ultimate Spider-Man and Absolute Batman because the barrier to making a comic is nothing like the barrier to making a movie. So a lot of times they get to kind of field their best ideas like Secret Wars that end up becoming the most hyped up movie of all time.